Good morning and welcome back to Life Lessons with Sheila. I'm so glad that you're here. I was challenged this week to embrace my God-sized vision, and as loaded as that sounds, we're going to get into it this week, okay? Today we're going to talk about the spoon in the cookie dough. Is your purpose broken? Is your purpose broken? So we're going to talk about how to view our purpose as God-sized vision today. First, we need to change the question, what's your will for my life, God, to what's your life for my will? You might ask God to show you his plan, but he instead shows you who you need to forgive. Again, you clarify, no, God, I'm not talking about in my career, my finances, or my relationship. And then he responds with, I know, but I want to talk about your heart. So then you reply, no, I want to talk about my circumstances. And God gets quiet for a second and responds with, no, my child, I want to change you. Oof. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways. That's in Isaiah 55, 8-9. If we could only get a tiny glimpse of God's vision for our life, we would walk in clarity in our purpose, and we would not be struggling like we are right now. Everyone I know is struggling in one area or another. It could be financially, maybe relationally, physically, spiritually, or even finding comfort within our own skin. You might can get away with lying to others and even to yourself, but there is one who knows the truth, and he's the one who created you. He knows you intimately, so much so that he knows your thoughts and your ways. He also knows the things that you do in private and the thoughts that you think to yourself. He knows when you rise in the morning and when you collapse in bed at night, exhausted, ready to go to sleep. He knows the way you're going to drive to work, the conversations you'll have, even the conflicts you'll face. He knows the people that will cross your path and how you will interact with them. There is nothing that you can do, say, or even think that will shock him. Let's get back on track with those details in mind. Imagine you're making a batch of cookies. You're busy tossing in the ingredients into the bowl, get them all in there, and then turn on your mixer. But you left a spoon in there, and you didn't see it, but the spoon gets stuck in the beaters and your mixer stops. As you look in, you see a mangled mess, and you wonder how it got there. It was tossed in back when you had added the vanilla, the butter, the sugar, and the eggs. Way before the flour, baking soda, and the yummy chocolate chips. You were so focused on putting in the ingredients that you did not notice the spoon. You were focused on the end result, the cookie dough. That's what we do in our lives. We start tossing in things that we perceive are good, and in the logical mind of the world, they are good. In fact, many have made good lives doing those same things. So they must be good for you, right? Toss in some conversations that you know maybe you should have refrained from. Some regret, some indecision, lots of self-doubt. Don't forget to add in a dash of inauthenticity. God does not want our focus on the end result. In this scenario, which is the cookie dough, the end result we all have in common ground with is eventually death. He wants our focus on right now, right this minute. What are you doing in this moment? What are you adding into the cookie dough of life right now? Did you leave in a spoon in from yesterday, from last week, last month, or even last year? A spoon of regret, a spoon of enviness, a spoon of greed, a spoon of idleness, a spoon of malice or discord? All of those spoons will ruin your mixer, which in this case represents your purpose, which is ultimately God's vision for your own life. The cookie dough is just your current passion and purpose. The mixer is God's purpose for you, your ultimate reason you were created. The ingredients you add to it will create these amazing masterpieces or huge recipe flops. They are building blocks in your life's purpose. Everything we put our energy into is either building us up for a better ending or holding us back from our truth, our God-given purpose, what we were designed to do. We ask God for direction in our life, yet we don't give our life fully to God to use. So go back to my first statement. Change the question. What's your will for my life, God? To what's your life for my will? What are your ingredients for my life, God? What am I missing for this perfect recipe of this moment that I'm in? What is in my mixer that no longer belongs, and what do I need to replace that with? Since God is one in essence, His will is undivided. As Richard Muller concisely states, God is what He wills. Viewed from our vantage point, the will of God reflects His character, reveals His design for His creation, and manifests His wisdom and power in ordering all that comes to pass for our good and for His glory. Others see and define our will from God as simply to obey His commands. To me, that is an ever-growing process, as we grow and mature in Christ to become sensitive to God's ways. He wants to know you, and you to know Him on an intimate, personal level. But to ask God what His life for our will is goes to a deeper intellectual level than we can truly barely even start to comprehend. It goes down to the root of why we were created, and for what purpose. We essentially are asking God what parts of Him are reflected in our thoughts, our ways. Again, what parts am I missing from this recipe? And what spoons have I tossed into my cookie dough that don't belong? What spoons are in my life that are in essence going to cause damage to my purpose? God's vision for you in life is that He wants to put into your will your purpose. It all circles back. If you live your life for Him in all-out gratitude, then you will reap life right back, and it will be so full and delicious, like the perfectly baked cookie. As you go through your life this week, perfecting your recipe, look out for the spoons that may be hiding in your cookie dough. If your purpose gets moving and you got a spoon in there, you're going to have to spend quite a bit of money to repair your mixer. Purpose in God's vision for your life. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'm adding in one of our family favorite cookie dough recipes here at the end. It's a replay of one of my former videos from 2019. Enjoy, and I'll talk to you guys later in the evening for prayer, and live tomorrow for our 9-week Strength in the Struggle Bible study. It will be sometime between 10:30 and noonish. Enjoy.
Hey guys, welcome back to One Pretty Little Box. I finally am here to show you how to make the kitchen sink cookies. So, are you ready? I hope so. First, let's do some cookie tips because I believe that there are little tips and tricks that we learn from each other, and maybe something I share today will be a tip that is new to you or something that you'd like to try. So, my first tip is, when you make cookie dough, you do not have to bake it all. You don't have to bake it all. In fact, today's recipe, I baked 9 delicious cookies, and that's it. That's all I have time for. Seriously. I have enough now for dessert this evening, or a snack, or whatever anyone wants. But I don't feel like I need to do them all. I don't need to do them all. So, after I put the 9 that I was going to bake on my cookie sheet, I rolled the rest of it up in parchment paper, and then I've got it in a freezer bag, and this is going to go probably either in my ice box for a week. I think it'd be fine for a week, or it's going to go in my freezer for 3 months. And if you freeze it, you can pull it out, let it defrost enough for you to slice and bake, or I'm like, where am I going with this? Or you can even slice them frozen. I have found that it's really, with a really good knife, all you gotta do is heat up the blade and you can slice it while it's frozen and then bake it, especially if you like really soft baked cookies or you like a gooey center. That is a great tip and a great way to get that. Otherwise, go ahead and toss it in your icebox and just bake them within a week or so. My second tip is if you want to store these, after they're baked in the freezer. That's easy too. I would put just a layer of I would put, Sheila, focus. I would put layers of paper towels in between each of your stacks of cookies and then roll them up really well, again in parchment paper, and then put them in a freezer bag. I think the more you protect them, the fresher they taste. I'm really picky though. I do not like stale cookies. I don't like cookies that feel grainy in my mouth, like they've been baked or over baked, or have been just sitting out for a long time. I think that's why during Christmas time I just bake them the day before we're gonna actually serve them, and I don't leave them out. I usually try to keep them in an airtight container to keep them fresh. I have a, do I have it in this one? No, it must be in my other cabinet. I have a big glass cookie jar that I like to store ours in, and I will put a paper towel, or they say you can keep bread in there. I have not ever done that. I just haven't, but it is supposed to help with the moisture. Now, mind you, I live in Texas. I'm on the Gulf Coast. We have a lot of humidity, about 85% of the time. So those kind of things are things that I pay attention to because we have a lot of humidity in the air. You might not. You might need to figure out a way to add moisture into whatever container you store yours in because your air is so dry. I don't have a tip for you on that because, again, it's not something I deal with, so I'm not sure how to handle that. And of course, back to parchment paper. That is I love using parchment paper whenever I am baking cookies because cleanup is easy. You can transfer the paper off of your cookie sheet and add another piece on to continue baking if you're baking all of your dough. And then really you're only using those two pieces because you can reuse it as you're baking, especially if you're baking the same kind of cookie. So, oh, you know what one of my other tips is? Vanilla. The recipe today, the original recipe, I've kind of switched a little things up on them. Vanilla was not part of it, but it just adds a depth to it. And of course, this was a peanut butter cookie recipe that we adapted by adding in chocolate chips and butterscotch chips. That's why we call it kitchen sink cookies, because it's everything but the kitchen sink. I really kind of want to try it with pretzel pieces as well, but I'm afraid that might be just too much going on. This has a lot of flavor going on, different directions. That's why it's so good, because you take a bite and you're like, wow, what is that? And usually it's that butterscotch chip that's hiding, that when you see it, you think it's peanut butter, but it's not. And it kind of does a little trick in your mouth. I don't know. It's delicious. So let's get on to the rest.
Time stops when I'm falling for you. The world stops spinning. My head is spinning too. Time stops when I'm falling for you. Should I stop or are you falling for me? As your world stops spinning. started spinning too. Heart stop when you first saw me. Did your world stop spinning? Does your world revolve around me? Me
Thank y'all so much for baking with me. If you try these cookies, let me know how delicious they are in your family. I'll talk to y'all next time. Bye-bye.